I'm going to read a little bit and comment. Heracles and the Philosophical Ascent. The Pythagoreans kept their doctrines secret. However, as is often the case, true esoteric teachings are not intended to quote teach some fascinating secret theory or idea, but to provide a spiritual method and guidance in order to actualize these ideas. They are designed to heal and transform the soul. You see, what's potential needs to be actualized. You have to put intent, you have to put faith, belief, intent, the powers of the soul, you have to put it into action to actualize things. So if you're going through some hard times, like physical trauma or psychological trauma or spiritual trauma, and you need help, these doctrines might come in handy because they are designed to help, to heal, to transform. If Pythagoras was coming not to teach but to heal, according to the ancient account, thus playing the role of Asclepius or Asgelatas, the Gula of Isin, the great physician Azugalatu. In Portugal, it was called Endovelicus, or of the Egyptian Imhotep, adopted son of Ptah. Then he stands in the long tradition of divine avatars, spiritual masters and healers who do not only provide a means of purifying the soul, but show the way to regain one's true identity and immortality. That thou art. You know, in the East, it was called the path to liberation, I think. It was Gautama. I don't know if you can listen. There's some noise in the background. Sorry. It was called Gautama. Later, I think around the 16th century, they start calling it Buddhism. You know, the Abrahamic scholars. And they reinvented the whole thing. But anyway, Plato was another spiritual guide. Or should I say spiritual appellation, because we, when we say Pythagoras, Plato, Jesus, Buddha, we're not, I'm sorry, Imhotep, we're not talking about a person, a psychophysical, we're talking about a spiritual appellation, a spiritual avatar, an archetype, a god. So, so this is the ultimate aim of the Pythagorean philosophy, not simply doing science and studying mathematics. In this regard, Plotinus clearly states, our concern is not to be free of sin, but to be God. Because thereby he repeats the ancient Egyptian theurgic ideal of becoming like a god, assuming the role of one of the Neteru, since all the Neterus are aspects, functions, masks, and names of the supreme principle, and sharing in the demiurgic activity and care of the world. All Neteru are aspects, functions, or masks. They are all names of the one supreme principle. You see, it's funny when they says sharing in the demiurgic activity and care of the world. Kind of reminds me of the Freemasons because they are, the stone builders. They're always in activity, building things. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of people that, you know, say bad things about them, others say good things about them. I don't really have an opinion. But again, some of them could be very evil and some actually could do very good. It all depends on the intent of the person, you see. like the idea of becoming a god, similar to the Platonic abdomination found in the Theaetetus. An image of Dei doctrine is held in the instruction of King Mericare, which belongs to the Middle Kingdom wisdom literature. These texts describes the established link between God and humanity through Mahat, sacred kingship, and occultic activities. Well provided are humans the herd of God. For their sake he created heaven and earth. They are his images. They have come forth from his body. For their sake he rises in the heavens. For them he created the plants and the animals, fowl and fish, so that they might eat. He created for them rulers in the egg, i.e., rulers still in the archetypical realm. God knows every name because all names are his name, you see. Because God is omnipresent, God is in everybody, and God knows everything because he lived many, many lives. Um, these rulers or these guides, they live in the archetypical realm and they will always be there when you need them, you see. When you go through trouble, because we kind of live in a very materialistic world nowadays, we just grind, don't even pay attention to the noetic world. But when trouble knocks, there's a trauma, physical or spiritual, you will notice the presence of these archetypes and they will guide you. The same thing happened with me. I mean, I couldn't care less about philosophy. It's only in these recent years, since I had physical issues and was in surgery and stuff, that quote unquote the gods came into my aid. So they're always there. For the image to be returned to its archetype, certain theurgic rites or their philosophical counterparts are required. See, we're all images, projections, negative images of the divine. For us to return to the source, we need to go through some theurgic rites. Their philosophical counterparts are required. Therefore, the early Pythagorean philosophy, which appeared more than 1500 years after the introduction of King Mericare was composed, aims at restoring the human being as an image del Deus through the philosophical mysteries, which consist in ritual purification, including the purification through virtues and reason, initiation or transmission of paradoxes or tradition or esoteric doctrine, and power of the spiritual Father and his Son, and 3, the opening of the spiritual eye, due to the inner alchemical transformation of the soul, the mythical vision of truth or union with the deity. He's talking about the heavenly eye or the third eye, the awakening, the opening of this spiritual eye will allow you to read, the spiritual, will allow you to understand the magical, the philosophical, the noetic. Yeah, without that eye, I mean, you can't see anything. You're just able to perceive the mundane. You are able to perceive, things literally. If someone presents you with allegory or metaphor or analogy, you just don't get it. You lack that vision, that inner vision, the magical vision. So I'm not going to continue reading, but this inner alchemical transformation of the soul is what they call the philosopher's stone. It's an inner transformation. It has nothing to do with some precious stone that's going to turn everything into gold. No, that's metaphorically, The transformation is inwards, you see. It's an inner alchemical transformation of the soul. When it's successful, the third eye, or the eye of Horus, the heavenly eye, the mythical third eye, will open. You see, that is the philosopher's stone. You know, and of course, when you open your third eye, you are walking with the gods. Therefore, you are immortal. So you see, you will understand your true identity and immortality when you open your third eye. That's what it's all about. It's interesting because a lot of people misunderstood these concepts, these doctrinal texts and metaphysical, points of view. They misunderstood everything, and they were actually literally looking, again, the lack of wisdom. They're literally looking for this thing that will turn everything into gold and make them, rich and powerful. It has nothing to do with earthly things, you know, at all. It's spiritual. And I think it's funny and ironic, So many people wasted their lives, trying to look for that, you know, philosophical thing, that philosophical stone or something. I was thinking about albedo, rubedo, and I don't know, the three sisters, and I think it has to do with something to do with the philosophical stone. I can't remember right now the details. Anyway, all right. Have a nice day.